The desperate search for Nancy Guthrie is now in week 3 as her daughter Savannah releases a new plea to her mother's suspected abductors.
I wanted to come on, and it's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope, and we still believe. And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is that it's never too late. And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing. And we are here. And we believe. And we believe in the essential goodness of every human being. And it's never too late.
But we may have a breakthrough in the case. This morning, the FBI says that the DNA has been found on a glove recovered near Nancy's home that appears to match the suspect's glove that you see in that footage on her doorbell camera.
And over the weekend, the FBI executed a federal search warrant at the house in the same neighborhood where Nancy went missing, resulting in 4 people being briefly detained and then released.
The search also leading investigators to seize a gray Range Rover that was taken in for evidence testing, and we are still awaiting a status update for what officials might have found inside that vehicle.
So this all comes as it has now been 11 days since the last press conference from local officials on the status of the search, and there are still no suspects.
So for the latest on the ground, let's go out to Matt Finn, who is live outside of Nancy's Tucson home. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning. Authorities say they have found at least 16 gloves in the area, but this one single glove could be a match to the one that masked suspect is wearing on the Nest Cam video. The DNA profile lifted from that glove will be added to the CODIS national database for comparison. We could get results soon. Now, CODIS contains more than 19 million offender DNA profiles and has helped the FBI in more than 750,000 cases. And Fox News Digital reports that investigators are using a high-tech Bluetooth scanner on the bottom of low-lying helicopters to detect Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker signal. The helicopter flies low in grid-like patterns to try to pick up her signal. And in an interview with the Daily Mail, Pima County Sheriff Nanos is quoted talking about Google trying to recover new video from another camera on Nancy's property, saying Google said at first we do not have anything, but we're going to do our best to try what they call scratch. It's hard. It's like scratching through layers. Think of it like you have 8 layers of paint on your house. I just hope they can scrape a camera shot down that driveway to identify a vehicle because, my goodness, you cannot put a mask on a vehicle, right? And we have some fresh drone video that shows you an angle of Nancy's house you may not be seeing too much. It's the back side of the home and the rear patio. You could see that blue door on your screen right now. That is the main back door with some glass window panes. If you look on your screen, you could see we don't see any immediate damage to any doors or windows in the rear of the house, although that is our unofficial view. So far, the sheriff has not confirmed whether there was any, and that's the second blue door on the garage area, it seems. So far, the sheriff has not confirmed whether there was any forced entry and has not confirmed if the suspect used the front or back door or one of the many windows on the home. Back to you guys.
Okay. Thank you so much, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Over the weekend, it came out more information about that gun holster and also about the gun. And they were saying, based on that information, investigators could cross-reference purchases, where that holster was bought, where the gun was bought, and hopefully these 2 items, they could link to one suspect. The gun holster, according to the Miami area police officer, this officer that was being interviewed, that was seen in the surveillance video, it's cheap, it's easily distinguishable, it's only available at a limited number of retail stores. The shape and other details align with a Strategy brand hip holster that is available at some Walmart stores for $10. And as of Saturday afternoon, the holster listed as in stock at 5 Walmart stores in that Tucson area. The gun appears to be a Walther semi-automatic or something similar, has a distinctive shape and a retention band, not considered popular. They don't expect investigators will find many purchases, which could be a good thing.
Yeah, they can use that AI technology to try to find someone. Let's bring in Fox & Friends weekend co-host Griff Jenkins. He's live outside of Nancy Guthrie's home. Griff, so they recovered some DNA that was inside of the house on the glove. At least one of the gloves was sent to the DNA testing, found 2 miles from the Guthrie home. They arrived at that Florida lab on Friday. The preliminary results show that the DNA profile was an unknown male. That matches the description that we have thus far. And then that FBI database, also known as CODIS, will get officials of those results. What do you know now that you're on the ground? Have you gotten the opportunity to survey the field?
Well, Lawrence, let's start first with that glove and the DNA and that CODIS system, the combined DNA index system that Matt Finn talked about. More than 750,000 cases have been solved because of it. It played a key role, if you remember, in the Brian Kohberger case. It took 47 days to get Brian Kohberger, and it was that CODIS system that matched a Brian Kohberger to his father, Michael Kohberger, and relatives. That's how this works. When we get those results, that could give them a lead in indeed. Now, when we get that, we don't know. As you mentioned, it's been 11 days since the last press conference. We got a lot of information up front, but Sheriff Nanos and the officials have not given us much. Hopefully we get that. But, I've only been on the ground 5 or 6 hours since I landed. And when I drove up here, Lawrence, it is unbelievable. You do not accidentally end up here. I had missed multiple turns using my GPS with the brights on my car. And you can see the Guthrie home behind me. But if you, Shane, just pan over here a little bit, you step just a foot or two off of just the driveway in the pitch black, and you can see you're in dense desert terrain. And, when we talk about that signal sniffer on the helicopter in the Pima County helicopter, I've been out here in Pima County and Pinal County riding around when we were pursuing cartel people, groups, drug runners here. This is where we're only 60 miles from the border, and they're using that FLIR radar, this area to find those 16 gloves, let alone this one that may be the DNA match. It's really quite significant. This is difficult terrain, no doubt. And that really, I know it's been talked about for the 16 days we've been covering this, but once you're on the ground, it's really a key factor. Now, let's go back to that glove. When we get light out here, we're going to go and walk along that area. Obviously, with 16 gloves, the majority of them, if not 15 of the 16, were perhaps the investigators who dropped them on the ground because they're trying not to affect the evidence. But no doubt, this is certainly one of the best leads they've got because, again, this is going to be solved through either DNA or if they're able to track purchases like the backpack, or if these tips that keep coming in give them a break that they're looking for.
So, Griff, one last question about that glove. Authorities say that the glove appears to be a match. And when they say that, they're basically just basing that on the way it looks. It looks like it's the same glove that the person was using in that door cam. There's no other, scientific match beyond that.
That's exactly right. And that's an important point, Charlie, because what they were able to do is they were able to lift DNA off of this glove. But they find the glove significant because the glove appears to match the look and style of the one that was seen on that doorbell ring camera that we have been playing. The gloves you see come towards the camera, that's what's different about this glove than the other 15 they've found so far. And so when that DNA is put into the CODIS system and the results come back, they will then begin to look for who it may be. Is it a relative in this area? Is it somebody that perhaps matches the build 5 to 10? There's probably a likelihood that we don't know all of the details they told us about the suspect in that ring camera. They may know more that they're not sharing with us, like ethnicity or other details. That'll be all part of the factor. But one thing is for sure, hopefully the officials today, tomorrow, will start to give us a little bit more to work on, because there are lots of, reporting going out there that the officials are having to shoot down. Like, for example, yesterday, there was a local report that the prevailing theory in this was a burglary gone wrong. Sheriff Nano saying, no, that's not the prevailing. That didn't come from an inside source from us, because, we're working at all of the angles. But because of the lack of information and not having these press conferences, you have these stories out here that gain steam that have no basis. So we just stick to the facts. But that DNA in this glove is definitely the tip of the spear of where we believe the investigation stands now, Charlie.
Griff, when you say preliminary results show DNA profile of an unknown male, does that just conclude that it's a man? Or does that mean that the DNA didn't match any of the offenders in CODIS?
No, it just means that they were able to, remember, when you talk about DNA evidence, there's all kinds of, there's biological, there's trace, and then, of course, there is impressions, and that means they're able to pick up something that identifies this as a male. But then that is then sent into the CODIS, this combined DNA index system that has the ability, Ainsley, for the FBI to combine, to work across federal, state, and local crime databases, so that way they can begin to try and figure out whose DNA that is. That result, because the DNA sample was sent to the Florida lab, it took about 24 to 48 hours. So if that's Friday, we believe it certainly could be today we get results, would come back. And then, of course, the results of searching across that database with federal, state, and local. Who does it match? Is it anyone in this area? That is where the possible break would be.
Hey, one real quick question, because we need to move on, but is the working theory still that the suspect in the ring door camera was wearing a glove over another glove, or is that theory gone out the window?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. Just to be very honest about this, I don't know exactly whether that's still the thing, because we don't have a lot of press access with the officials. They're keeping it very close to the vest here, but that's certainly a question I'll ask if I get an opportunity a little bit later.
Roger that. All right, Griff.
Thank you, Griff. Great to see you, man.
And just a quick clarification. During the Brian Kohlberger case, they didn't use CODIS, they used the genealogy. So in this case, they're probably going to do the both. The CODIS system is the federal database. Many people that are sex offenders, or if there was a federal affidavit where the judge required them to get a warrant, but they'll be able to do both. But each time that they test that DNA, you lose the value of that DNA. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.